When people died from flooding in China, that number was added to the death toll of communism. But when people die from poverty in the West, that's just because they didn't work hard enough. This myth of 100 million came from the Black Book of Communism, where they attributed every death within a communist state's existence to communism itself. A book with no empirical data that has not only been debunked by capitalist scholars, but by the co-authors themselves, where the causes of death are so broad you can't possibly blame them on a system. One of the most absurd inclusions is the hypothetical number of people that could have been conceived had women not joined the workforce. People that never even existed are included in a death toll? And the most outrageous inclusion is counting both the Soviets who died fighting Nazis and the Nazi soldiers themselves who were killed. Like, sure, Nazis were victims of communism, but that's a good thing? Any good Marxist-Leninist will admit that there were real mistakes, some with tragic consequences, but that doesn't mean we're going to accept outright lies about the people who were trying to make the world better. And whether or not you agree with communism, both the Soviet Union and China went from impoverished societies to global superpowers in just decades, without centuries of colonialism or slavery to help them get there. But if we do grant the 100 million just for argument's sake, then let's apply the same logic to capitalism. And if we did that, we would have to include every death from preventable diseases, every person who dies because they can't afford healthcare or housing, every death from hunger in a world that produces more than enough food, every single person that died from slavery, from colonization. The countless genocides of indigenous peoples alone surpasses 100 million deaths easily. And we haven't even mentioned any of the wars yet. Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Palestine, both world wars, and 2 atomic bombs, all due to capitalism. If I listed everything, you would be watching this video for weeks, because capitalism has always been a system that sustains itself on human suffering. History has been altered by those who stand to benefit from capitalism's continued existence. They want to hide the truth that communism has been the biggest force for human liberation in history. The next time someone says communism killed 100 million, ask them one question: according to who? And if this myth is the only thing stopping you from considering communism as a viable alternative to the dystopian capitalist hellhole we're living in, then it's probably time that you learned real history.